Welcome guys to the push button start installation procedure deal. Now before I get too crazy into this process, there are a couple prereqs for the EasyGuard system. Just so you're not watching this and you get halfway through and you're like, damn it, I don't have that done. So you can still watch this video of course, but just be cognizant you're going to need two things. One's optional to do this project. One is the steering column bypass. I'll put a link in the description below of course. It can cost you about 40 to 50 bucks for one of these little guys. And the VATS bypass, which are simply just little resistors that you're going to trick your VATS system that goes your ignition, and it creates the same ohms that you're going to have in your key. This little guy pretty much just completes the circuit using a bypass. Both are very easy to do. There's tons of videos online how to do it. Maybe in a future video I'll do how to do those, but just for time purposes and get this video out to you guys, I won't be showing that portion, and a lot of cars already have it done. One more thing, this is a relay to kind of trick the car into thinking a key is still there when the doors open. Now you can do this process without one of these guys, but you won't get the door chime and you won't get reminders such as the lights are on, etc. if you leave them on. So I'm gonna go ahead and install this guide, and it'll be one of the steps as we go through this. This ran me maybe what, 20 bucks. So, and these little resistors cost me like $3. So expect to pay another 70 bucks on top of the EasyGuard, grand total of about 180 for everything, just so you're not blindsided doing this project. There's a good chance, like I said, both the VATS and column lock have already been done, and you can check looking in the footwell or underneath the dash where the ignition goes. Yeah, I just want to get that out of the way, and again, the links are in the description below. Yeah, so now we'll go ahead, do the intro, and then we'll go into the unbox and get working on the car. So today we're doing something not really in my wheelhouse, but I'm confident I can figure this out and do it. It's, if you haven't figured it out from the thumbnail, this is a push button start for the C5 Corvette. And this is also a universal deal, so if you have another car you're trying to figure this out, this might help you as well. This is going to be for Corvette C5. The theory is very similar to that of a alarm system, which I've never done either. But I've done a lot of reading on forums, write-ups on other cars with the same deal, and I'm gonna do a nice little open box for you guys, install and review. See if it's worth your time. As far as push button starts, I can take them or leave them. My C5Z is kind of like my experimental car, if you will. Just kind of trying fun stuff. Pretty much help you guys out to build this channel. Yeah, so hopefully it can help someone else out there that's on the fence about doing this. There's that. As far as the install goes, I will only be doing the push button feature, door lock feature, trunk release, maybe the lights. The horn I'm not going to do because it kind of drives me nuts. But yeah, those are the four main features I will be installing. There are more goodies on here, like a touchpad and a remote start, which I have a manual, so I won't be doing that. This will give you the gist of what's going on with this guy and a good understanding. I got it out of the box, but still in its respective box. So I'm going to go ahead, mount this to my head, and we'll get to the contents of this guy, what you get. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little hesitant. These are relatively cheap. I thought this would be in the ballpark of 500 plus. This is the most expensive one I could find, and it was like 120. So, but the reviews are pretty good. The only bad reviews are people that couldn't get it figured out. Hopefully I'm not one of those, and obviously if you're watching this, I got it figured out. Down in the description we'll have all the product stuff, information, what model and stuff it is. It's the EasyGuard, I think it's E2E002 or something like that. All right, I'm talking a lot, so let's go ahead and get into this guy. All right, here we go. EasyGuard push button start kit. The box is pretty nice. It's got a nice little cardboard frame to it, magnetic, pretty cool. All right, here's the, and I have Flex Seal on my hand for a project. Don't worry about that. But yeah, this is the computer pretty much, which you're gonna be controlling all the little doodads that comes with this from this guy. And we will get into this later, of course. You get two key fobs, which I'm not sure if there's batteries in this or if there's keys in this. And there's no keys, so interesting. Okay. They feel okay. They feel kind of light. They feel sturdy, but light. They're okay. All right, all kind of harnesses. The actual push button itself we'll get to last. Let's looks like the antenna for the key fobs to start the car. And this guy goes in here, of course. We got 2 of the passive key antennas. These are gonna go on both sides of the car around the door seal somewhere, and we'll get to that later on in the install. This looks like one of your main harnesses that's gonna find your horn, your lights, your door locks, and pretty much all the accessories you wanna wire up, you're gonna use with this harness right here. This looks like your ignition. Yeah, this is gonna go straight from this guy back here, and these are gonna plug right into where the old ignition was. These are gonna replace that. Easy enough. This little guy, I am not too sure what this is for, but we will come back to this, or I'll put a little text here somewhere what this guy is. These are probably brackets for the push button if needed. Oh, and this is a little keypad, which I will not be using, but it comes with it. Actually, I don't know what this is. Again, yeah, this will be something I'll put a little, some verbiage on the screen to explain. Oh, it is the touch password. I guess it lights up or something. Interesting. Weird. Different than what it looks like in the graphic. So, but I will not be using this, but I will try to insert somewhere on how to install it if you want to use that. This looks like the other end of this. If you wanted to put this guy in here, I guess if you had an exact pigtail that this would match up to, this would be good. If you want to wire the other side, I'm not going to do that. I will probably just push these pins into the respective location and wire them up and wrap them up with some electrical tape. Every other wire job I do in this process, I will be soldering it. I'm a huge fan of soldering. It gives me a warm fuzzy. And looks like your install and your user manual, which we'll get to last during the review process. And common used operations. And this, again, is something we'll come back to at the very end. Cool. All right, let's look at the button itself. I'm curious to see the quality of this guy. Okay. It's like another little bracket. This is really chintzy. This is very light. The button action itself feels fine. Get up close view if you can see that. It feels okay for what it is. I'm not too sure how to mount this guy yet, but I will figure it out, and don't you worry. I will show you in detail how to mount this guy the best we can. Cool, that looks like all the fun little goodies in there. Cool, so let's head on out there and start taking stuff apart. All right, to get going here, we're gonna be removing 3 components to get this job going. Assuming your VATS bypass inner column lock is done, we can go ahead and jump into it. We're gonna take out the center console, which is easy enough. There's gonna be 2 10mm underneath your armrest. The rest of it kind of pops off. There's some TORX bits behind the cigarette lighter. And there's one up here behind the ambient air temperature sensor, which I'm sure you're familiar with. You're gonna take this bottom dash part out. There's 2 screws underneath and one behind this guy. And lastly, we're gonna take off the door panel. This little cover back there, you're gonna pop that out. There's gonna be 2 TORX bits to take out of that guy. The rest of the door pretty much pops off. This guy right here pops off as well. And so does this little bezel around the door handle. So we're gonna go ahead and get all 3 of those parts off, and we can start wiring stuff up. Okay, interior is ripped apart. Once again, I feel like I take this interior apart at least once every 2 weeks. So this should be everything we're gonna have to remove for this process. In case you're wondering, the VAT system, to disable it, this is the wire it plugs into right here, which goes around your column. Up here, the other side had a pigtail. I simply cut it off and put the resistor in between and solder it to both sides. Boom, good to go. The column lock bypass you do down there in the footwell. I'll include a video or a link in the description for that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take out this ignition system, 2 10mm. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy out, and then we'll go from there. All right, once you get those 2 little bolts out, it kind of comes right out, no big deal. I got 2 pigtails in the back here that snap right in. Those little guys right there. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start wiring up our main computer for this push button, and I'm thinking I'm gonna mount it up around here because I don't have much of an option. Yeah, probably the left side, this little cage here, but first things first, we'll get it wired up. Oh, and real quick, the little wires on these things, the metal prongs are very long. I got this idea from Chainsaw, the guy I referenced earlier. Put a little bit of tape on there so there's no incidental grounding or shorting between the two before we get started. All right, got the main wire harness here, just kind of wired in here. I'll probably leave it like this. They're pretty snug in there. Let you see what I did here, get you guys a good orientation, good lighting. Okay, so there's two power wires, a yellow, a brown, a white, and an orange. I did the homework of where exactly in this little receptacle they go, so you don't really need to worry about that. But so the white one over here, the left, you're gonna have a red, a yellow, a brown, and then on the black side over here, it's gonna go red, white, orange, and the two reds should not matter. And just make sure you look at the orientation of how I have the plugs in the back. They're kind of facing up the little clips. Easy day. So 6 little things you had to do there. Next, we're going to wire in the little relay to trick the car into thinking that the key is actually still a thing, so you have all your normal functionality. So I'm going to go ahead and wire this up and show you exactly how I do it. Oh, and also these little guys right there, they just kind of plug in easy enough. Super freaking easy. There you go, and they're nice and snug, but I'm going to tape this up at the end. All right, got my little relay here all wired up minus the ground wire, and I'll show you where that goes in a minute. So pretty much, yeah, your yellow is going to go to your green and black, blue is going to go to your black, ground, your red's going to go to your tan wire, your white wire is going to connect to your orange wire down here. I just soldered it right there where it goes in to the little terminal, no big deal. And then there's a perfect little screw or nut, you want to call it, right there, right here, right underneath everything. Now I'm going to do all the grounds too. So I'm ready to do the main pigtail ground. I'll ground this little guy as well. All right, next I'm going to mount all of my antennas. There's 3 of them total. 2 are for the passive system, and 1's for the key fob itself to make sure it's in the car, and you can unlock remotely. This is the main one. I'm going to mount it underneath the dash here. If you put your hand underneath here and go straight up, it's a nice flat surface right up here. I think it's like right here. But I'm gonna go ahead and mount this guy there with some sticky stuff on it, and one of the passive antennas up there as well. The other passive antenna I'm gonna mount in the door frame, probably right here. I'm gonna route it through all the wiring, you know, to the grommet and stuff, along with the 2 unlock wires I'm going to route here momentarily. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and I'll be right back. All right, got this one mounted right there, super easy. Like I said, I'm going to route this up through here, easy day. The main antenna, I got the stick up inside here. It's sitting right here, stuck just fine. For whatever reason, the other passive antenna, I ended up putting right there. It would not stick for anything. I don't know if it's a surface material. It's the same kind of adhesive, so not really sure. But I'm not too worried about it. I'm only worried about the passive entry on the driver's side, really. So if anything, this will just give me another angle of approach for the passive system to work. So no big deal. All right, next thing I'm going to do is get some extra wire and run wires from the door locks and this guy back into the door. And actually the door portion should be wrapped up then. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that done, and I'll be right back to show you exactly what I did. Oh, quick little pro tip to get the wires routed through this little accordion to the door. Use a piece of wire, sturdy wire, to kind of feed it through first, and then out through here. So what I'm gonna do is all 3 of my wires, I'm gonna tape them very securely to here, and then just pull them on through here, make your life a lot easier. All right, let me get this wrapped up. All right, got this all wrapped up here. Obviously, put this down here, as you can see. This thing I unclipped, make my life a little easier. You want the red and orange with a black stripe. Orange is unlock, red is lock. I'm using the same color wires. So I did tag one as green, the other end is green as well. As you can see, I just routed it up through here where the wires go, nice and neat. Behind the grommet, kind of cheated. into the door, the little accordion deal, and then down here. So the next thing I'm gonna do is this scary looking pigtail. Start taping off stuff I'm not gonna use and start soldering things I am gonna use. And then we're like almost done. Just put back together and test it out. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start soldering things. I'll be back and explain where I soldered what. All right, everything's wired up. It got very cloudy on me, so I'm sorry if it's kind of dark, but I'll use my best to explain where everything is wired. So let's start over here at the door. So I got the unlock and lock right there on that little guy. Fed up through here and through here along with the antenna into there, boom, to the two white wires respectively that come off of the one labeled central door locking. Keep in mind, this is a Chinese product and a lot of the verbiage is kind of silly and stupid. It takes a little deciphering, but as long as you follow this, you'll be all right. Let's see. So coming off the little door lock, the two orange ones you don't need. Go ahead and cap those off. The two yellow ones are gonna go to a ground, which I have grounded just to a random bolt up here, no big deal. Next we'll go to there's two ground wires that come out of this pigtail as well. And those just go to the frame right down there. There's this blue wire, which is like oil feed line, I think. Oil path detection. That's just gonna go straight to the ignition, which is, I tapped it in right here on the pigtail, the middle one. Boom, good to go. Let's see what else is on here. The trunk release, the little purple one right here. I fed this straight to a constant hot 12 volt right there. Easy day. The other side, the output of trunk is gonna go in this little pigtail, which goes up here typically where your trunk releases. Inside, there's a little black wire, and in the back of that, I just soldered it in and taped it up. And I soldered all my joints. I just like soldering, but you know, you can use wire taps as well. Doesn't really matter, whatever you're comfortable with. As far as wiring up, I think that's everything. Oh, and this orange one right here is gonna go to a white wire under here on this pigtail. This guy, if you can see it, and I just tapped it right in. Easy day. I already plugged everything up, so I know it works. But next thing I'm gonna do is get all this stuff managed a little better, all the wires and stuff zip tied and together. I'm gonna mount the main computer, this guy right here. I'm gonna go ahead and mount this right here with some zip ties. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all the wiring tucked away and all that stuff. After that, I will explain how to mount the actual button, which I haven't even thought about yet, but I'll probably make a little bracket for it or something, and we'll go from there. All right, so I'll be back shortly with all this buttoned up. And I almost forgot, there's a bunch of little pins back here. If you have a manual, it's important that number 4 pin is down. If you have an automatic, it should be up. The rest of them out of the box, I'm happy with how they're set. If you read the directions, it'll tell you exactly what they do, as far as what kind of pulses you need, etc. For keyless entry 1 or 2. I think the defaults are just fine. Like I said, number 4, manual should be down, automatic should be up. All right, everything wired up here, like I just said. Everything tucked in there pretty good. There's a lot of wiring, so just take your time getting it to how you want it. There's never a right way to do it. I got it as organized as possible. Good to go. Door panel back on, all set there. I still gotta mount the damn thing up here. That'll be the next part of this video. I'm thinking just like a little, like a shim, like a 1/4" shim behind it, because you could use this guy as a template and it sits right in there. This, some jazz like this, like that. It's kind of where it's gonna go. The lighting here sucks. Let me see if I can make the lighting a little better. Yeah, you can use this guy as a template, the one that was underneath the, on top of the old ignition. Kind of sit it how it went. I had this thing in the way. Long story, this thing's broke, but yeah, just kind of get this to where it was factory. and measure it on top of that. And that's probably what I'm gonna do, but we'll get to that in a minute. But for right now, I just want to show you guys a little functional check. So the car's unlocked. Well, I just unlocked it, that's why it's blue. If you lock it, like you're going away, it goes off, car's off, okay? Unlock the car, boom, good to go. Let's see here, I'm gonna show you the functions for the door. Like you just heard, lock, unlock, trunk. Just, oh, quick 2, and you'll hear it open. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the clutch in, brake down, and this guy should fire up. It's been sitting for about 3 days, a little slow to start, but yeah, good to go. So, and then just turn it off when it's on, it's green. To turn the car off, make sure your foot's on the brake. One hit, good to go. Now, if you don't have your foot on the brake, it takes 3 seconds to either start it or stop it, just a heads up. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this button up there pretty somehow, and I will be back when all this is good to go and give you my final thoughts. All right, as you can see, it's all wrapped up here, and it does look really good. The battery's off right now, but yeah, I was gonna show you this process, but the fitting of this to get it just right to fit with the bezel, total pain in the ass. This thing came off and on probably 25 times, and the way my radio is, it's very delicate, so I don't want to chance it one more time and having this break. However, to actually fix it, this button to the metal bracket behind it's fairly simple. I just put a piece of plastic shim to cover the hole with some 3M tape, and then I took roughly 2 more shims, about the size of a little bigger than a quarter. I made about 1/4 inches total of shimming, if you will, between the button and the bracket behind it. So you're gonna want between the button and the frame metal piece behind this about 1/4 inch, so it matches the bezel just fine. You are gonna want to play with it a little bit. I'm kind of OCD. I probably could have got it 1/8 to 1 inch lower, but I can live with this for now. But yeah, the actual adhering the buttons, really easy. I really overthought it, but yeah, you can just use some 3M tape and it's on there good, and this bezel itself holds it in, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of my car cleaned up. It is disgusting. I'm gonna pull it outside and I'll show you guys some of the features and let you guys know what I think about it. All right, everything's wrapped up. Quick little tutorial here, how this little guy works. Overall, the process wasn't terrible. It took me a lot of trial and error, which I didn't film. A lot of the wiring was trial and error, but hopefully this will make someone else's life a lot easier. So go ahead and start out with the key fob. And obviously you saw what I wired and what works and doesn't work. I didn't use the little keypad. And if you wanted to use a little keypad, you just simply mount it around right here. If you're in Virginia, it might not work. Maybe up here. And it's pretty simple. You would just route it down in your dash, right into the unit. There's a little plug for it. Simple enough. But I did not use that. All right, I'm gonna shut up and get to what this thing does. The trunk, 2 clicks, works just fine. Doors open and unlock. It's unlocked right now. I don't know if you can hear it. And then unlock, lock, boom, good to go. Good, how you guys doing? So, now this thing is pretty cool. It's got a passive key. Now, if I leave the car unlocked, if I walk away, you gotta walk away about 25 feet, it'll lock. Now, I'm not sure if you can hear it or not, but if we walk up to the car, hopefully you can hear it. Well, it just unlocked. It's pretty freaking cool. Good to go. However, if I lock the car with this and walk away, wait, even coming back with the key, it'll stay locked. So essentially, you could just have this thing in your pocket and not do anything, and the whole car does it for you, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go ahead, unlock it, we'll get in. Okay. It's kind of cool having a key fob in this car. It's kind of nuts. So pretty much this works just like your accessory on and engine start. Press it once, you'll get your accessory. Press it again, car will turn on, as you can see. And then put on the brake and the clutch. Good to go. It's so weird having a push start in this car. It really finishes off the interior very nicely. And then to turn it off, foot on the brake. If not on the brake, you gotta hold it down 3 seconds, but no big deal. Also, the light is green when the engine is on. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. Easy day. What else? This thing can be programmed to be a remote start. I don't advise it in a manual, because chances are you'll leave it in first or reverse and your car will stall and probably hit something. But if you're in automatic, this little key thing can be used as a remote start, which is pretty cool. A couple of features I did not, like I said, the keypad I didn't use. I hate the horn when I lock it. And these locks are loud enough, you can hear it lock when you walk away, so I'm fine with that. I was on the fence about doing the parking lights, and I decided not to just to save time. But it wouldn't be too hard if you wanted to do that. Overall, now that I know what I'm doing, I could probably do this in an afternoon, but I had to do the VATS, like I showed you briefly, and the column bypass. Oh, and one little note. I did the column bypass, and even before I started doing this, I got the column lock error. So I had to do the brown mod wire amendment thing that like maybe 5% of the C5s you had to do to it. Mine was one of those weird PCMs where it required it. So yeah, I snipped that brown wire, everything's good now. And then I proceeded with the remote start, and I'm very happy with it. I will do an update on how I like it in a month or two from now. For those that follow me, the radio is still working just fine. The seats look just fine. The steering wheel is amazing. The MGW is amazing. Future mods for this guy, get a new leather wrapped one of these. This is ugly. Get some new visors and maybe some leather wrapped door trim. And I think the interior will be done, you know what I mean? I don't know what else there is to do. So, all right, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's kind of an in-depth process. It's not too bad. I've done worse. It's not the easiest thing to do, and it can be kind of a pain routing the wires, etc. Any questions, of course, please let me know. I'm sure I'll have more questions too, and more things will come up with it that I'll post on Facebook or do a video on in the future. But cool. I know this video is kind of long overdue. It's been crazy on my end with work trying to get this out. And I'm sorry, I haven't done a Corvette news in like a week because I've been doing this, so I apologize. But I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking, and hopefully you guys found this informative and enjoyed this. Yeah, so I'm gonna go edit this and get out to you guys, and I'll catch you guys probably Monday for some Corvette news, back to some normal stuff. So, cool guys, thanks for tuning in. Mark out.